In Western literature and the arts, students are instructed by two separate, but equally important professors. Professor McIntosh from the English department and Professor Cole from the art department. This is their story.
Hey everyone. Normally, each semester, the syllabus review is done by both Professor McIntosh and myself. We would normally do a Zoom call and record it, and the two of us would talk about the syllabus together. But today, on the day that we were planning to record this video, Professor McIntosh contacted me to let me know that she's having internet issues, and there's not really a good day other than today for the two of us to do this recording together. So you just have me today. Professor McIntosh will also record a video that sort of goes over some frequently asked questions about this course that will also she'll also be posting. But again, because of her internet issues, you won't get the two of us doing that like we normally would. But you have me, and let's go over this syllabus really quickly so you get an idea of what you've gotten yourself into. So, and forgive me that I'm sort of looking over here. I have the syllabus up where I can see it over here on this side. So this course is English 201, Western Literature and the Arts 1. Now, a lot of students just refer to it as the humanities, and that's perfectly fine. You don't worry. You do not have to take 1 and 2 in order. So there are some of you here in the class who are in English 201. This is your first of the humanities courses, and there are others of you who are here that have taken 202 prior to this. No worries, you don't have to have taken these two in order. You have to take 201 and then 202. It's perfectly fine to take them out of order. Just understand that as far as the time frame is involved and what we'll be covering in the course, if you've taken 202, we're now jumping back in time and sort of looking at art and literature of cultures that came before the time period that was covered in 202. Just so you understand. All right, it is fall 2022. Here is all the info you need about your two professors. Well, for contacting us, that is. I am Professor Jason Cole. This is my email, and honestly, that's going to be the best way to get in touch with me personally. You have my office phone number here, but I will rarely answer that if I don't recognize the number that I see on the phone screen. I screen my calls in my office because way too many calls come through trying to convince professors to buy books. Spam calls often come through to professors as well. Right? There's no way of sort of blocking the solicitation that comes through on our phones. And so rather than just dealing with that, I screen my calls. So understand that if you do call my number, right, it's going to get sent to voicemail, and then I'll check the voicemail later. So if you want a more immediate response, you'll want to email me at colej@bethelu.edu. My office location is DFAB 113. It's in the Dickey Fine Arts building. And in fact, I'll talk about Professor McIntosh as well here, right? So Professor Sarah McIntosh, this is her email as well. McIntoshs@bethelu.edu, and her office number as well. But Professor McIntosh is also a bit like myself and doesn't always necessarily answer her her office phone. But I was going to say, all right, DFAB, you'll notice her office is in DFAB. Mine is also in DFAB. This is the Dickey Fine Arts building on campus. 113 and 111B. we're both on the same hall. We're in fact only a few doors down from each other. If you walk into the front doors of DFAB, if you go to the left and go down the hallway that you'll see on your left there, my office is 113. It'll be on the right, just as you pass the bathrooms on the right, and then go a few more doors down, and you'll also see Professor McIntosh's office there on the right. You have our office hours listed here as well, right? But you'll also notice there are these asterisks that are included here on the office hours. Let me scroll on down. All right. As it mentions here, this course is offered completely online. You must have reliable access to the internet to access Google Classroom for all lecture materials, coursework, quizzes, exams, etc. Right? This is going to be completely online. Right? There is no in-person element to this. So if you don't have a reliable internet connection in some capacity, you're going to want to either look into alternate ways of doing that, or you may want to look at one of the in-person offerings that we have, one of the sections that will be meeting in person. Then the second thing is about our office hours here. Office hours can be done in person this semester or virtually at the request of the student. For virtual appointments, students should email the instructor or instructors, if you're wanting to meet with both of us, during these times, requesting a virtual meeting. And the instructor or instructors will gladly create one. We'll use Zoom. That's our platform of choice. It does say here that masks are required when meeting in person. So if you're going to be in our office, wear a mask. We're going to require that at least until the point comes that either of us feels comfortable with not requiring that. But as for right now, that is the case. Email availability. So here is that 3 asterisk footnote. Email availability spans from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. during the work week, with any messages sent outside of those times being answered at the instructor's next available opportunity. Now, this is the point at which usually when we're both recording this, Professor McIntosh and the Professor McIntosh will always mention that she has a tendency to, as she puts it, these are her words, make bad life choices, and may find herself up very late at night staring at her phone, looking at TikTok or doing whatever, and will sometimes choose to answer those really late emails that come through. And I always explain that, nope, I am a person who really, really, really enjoys his sleep. I am usually in bed and knocked out by about 11 p.m. at night. And so I'm not going to be looking at those emails that you send at crazy wee hours of the morning during or in the middle of the night. What this is saying is that between the hours of 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. each day, right, you're guaranteed that if we're not in class, if you're emailing us and we're both in class, that's a different story. But as long as we're not in class, we will be in our offices. We will have our laptops up. We will have our email open, and you'll get a prompt reply from us. Outside of those hours, we don't guarantee that. Both Professor McIntosh and I have 6-year-olds. It's weird. We sort of joke that there must have been something in the water on our hallway of DFAB in 2016, or I guess technically in 2015, because we both had, each of us had a child born in March of 2016. So we both have 6-year-olds right now. Those 6-year-olds attend school. They're both in first grade. Those 6-year-olds are beginning to build social lives, and whereas her son has Boy Scouts, my daughter has Girl Scouts. She also has dance classes on Thursday nights, In addition to that, we also have our own family obligations, things of that nature that will put us where we may not always be available to give you instant replies when you email us about things. Understand though, we are both Professor McIntosh and I blur those boundaries sometimes. and so yeah, sometimes you may send us an email at an oddball hour of the day and you may get an instant reply. Don't expect that as the norm, however, right? What you are guaranteed, the guaranteed time you have is 9 to 2 each day of the week, Monday through Friday. All right. Now let's head on back up here. When you reach out to contact your professor in this class, reach out to both of us, right? There is a tendency among students in this class to sort of pick one professor or the other to be the one that you contact all of the time. I don't know why. And so a lot of times just one of us is getting emails. And when you do that, when you only email one of us, you are excluding one half of the team that teaches your class, right? You're just excluding them. And that's not cool, number one. Number two, you have put an extra step between you and getting a response. Why? Let's say, for instance, that you only email me with a question. What I am now going to do when I notice that I have only gotten, you have only emailed me, is I'm now going to take that email and forward it to Professor McIntosh so that she and I can then discuss the nature of your email, and then you will receive a response from us. So you're only slowing down the process by not emailing both of us, because you only email one of us, and we're going to be like, well, I got to make sure that the other knows what's going on first, and then we reply, right? So make sure that you're sending your emails to both of us, any correspondence to both of us, okay? All right. Prerequisite is a passing grade in English 111. If that is not the case, if you have not made a passing grade in English 111 prior to taking this course, you need to speak to your advisor. All right. The course is a team-taught survey of literature, the arts, and music from prehistory through the Middle Ages. That's where we'll stop, with attention to the philosophical climate of each period. All right. How much do I want to dive into about this? Yeah, let's go ahead. This kind of gives you an idea of what to expect over this course. The goals: you'll complete reading assignments. You'll respond to in-class readings and lectures. There'll be 8 quizzes. We'll talk about the nature of those a little more in depth in a moment, and 3 exams. If you are taking this course after having taken 202, you'll note that there's nothing in there about a creative project. That's because this particular semester doesn't require you to make a creative project for the end of the semester. Your grade is hugely based upon those 8 quizzes and those 3 exams. Right? Now, textbook, something to talk about here. You'll see that it mentions that for the textbook in this class, you have a digital PDF copy of the collection of literature that is titled Via Antiqua, and that will be provided to you free of charge in Google Classroom. All right. And you'll notice that's it. After that, it mentions additional readings, TBA provided online, right? We made a decision. Again, some of you who have already taken 202 may recall that in addition to this book of literature, this collection of literature, there was a textbook, which I thought I had sitting somewhere over here, but I don't. But we used to have a textbook that would be where you would go and read about sort of the history of each of the periods that we go through. But both myself and Professor Roberson, who also teaches the art half of this course, realized that book just wasn't doing it for us. There wasn't enough information in there on the art of each period. And so we were finding ourselves really having to give you all the information in our lectures anyway, because the information was either not there or very lacking in that book. So we made a decision across all of the sections to just axe that textbook. Right. So you don't have to pay for a textbook in this course. It just isn't a thing, right? There will be, again, in Via Antiqua, literature that you need to read, right? Because when you get to the lectures from Professor McIntosh, she will be expecting that you have read the literature that's being talked about in those lectures, the literature that she's going to provide some additional context for. But as far as anything goes for me, I won't be requiring any readings except in one case where I'm going to talk about the philosopher Plato, and I will ask you to have read a particular piece from him. Other than that, I'm not going to be requiring any readings. The information that you'll be getting and that you'll need for those quizzes and exams will be in my lectures. All right. But no textbook for you to spend money on, just the one that will provide for you free of charge. All right, I'm going to skip through all this and we'll dive into the course calendar here. All right. So this is one of the first places that you can go to know what we're going to be doing in each week of the semester in advance, right? So that you get an idea of what we'll be talking about each week and whether or not there's a quiz or an exam coming up. This calendar is in the syllabus, as you can see, and it is broken down by week. Each week also explains the dates which fit within that week. And you're going to notice that these dates of each week line up with Monday through the following Sunday, right? As opposed to the typical Monday through Friday that you might expect being in an academic course. And this is because the way this course is going to work, a lot of assignments and things will be due on Sunday night before a new academic week begins. So we have this sort of lined up so that you understand if you're doing anything on a Sunday for this course, it applies to the week prior that you've just gone through, right? For each week, there's an explanation of what is going to be happening that week, what kind of lectures that you'll be receiving. So this week, you're getting an introduction to the course. Hey, that's what's happening right now. That's what I'm doing. And you're going to get some lectures on prehistory, Mesopotamia, the Egyptians, etc. If there is a quiz on a particular week, it will be listed. Right? If there is a holiday, we've also got that listed on here, like Labor Day, like Thanksgiving, so on. If there is an exam, that is listed. But not only that, note how you will see, like here on online week 6, nothing but that exam is listed, right? Because if it's an exam week, you're not going to have any other lecture materials that you need to look at, right? Now I'll talk about the format of quizzes and lectures here. Quizzes and exams here in just a moment. Methods of instruction, class discussion, lectures, audio, video presentations, all done electronically. All right, so here you go. Here's the nitty gritty. This is the kind of stuff that you want to know about. How the quizzes, exams, what have you work. In the schedule, you'll notice there are 8 quizzes that are scheduled out, each one taking place on specific weeks within the schedule. These quizzes are 10-question multiple choice quizzes. We'll do these in Google Classroom. You'll receive a link to them the way that they will usually work is that they will open up on Thursdays, right? On Thursday of the week that the quiz is due, that quiz will open up, and you can take it anytime between then and when it closes on Sunday night. Now, a bad habit that a lot of students will get into is waiting until like really late on Sunday to actually take the quiz. Understand you can take that quiz anytime between there. But what happens is a lot of students will wait until the last minute to take it, and then it closes on them before they're able to submit. So you don't want to do that to yourself. As it mentions here, there'll be 8 of them, but the lowest score of the semester will be dropped, and the remaining scores will be averaged. All right, we give you one gimme, right? Where if you manage to not submit a quiz on time, you've got one gimme where we'll be like, okay, fine, you can make up this quiz, but that's it. After that, you need to make sure that you're getting them in on time. Otherwise, you'll receive a 0 for each missed quiz. However, as it says here, students are strongly encouraged to notify instructors if and when school-sponsored activity travel prevents accessing the quiz to give the instructors enough time to make appropriate adjustments to the electronic quizzes. All right. We are willing to work with you, especially if you have events going on where you are required to be there, right? You have a scholarship activity you are required to travel for, and maybe you don't have access to the internet for any of those days when the quiz is open. Get in touch with us, but get in touch with us before the problem occurs, right? If you tell us about this problem before it occurs, we can make allowances to sort of give you an opportunity to make up that quiz. But you're waiting around until you just haven't submitted it, and now you've got a 0, and then you tell us why. It's a little more difficult to work out a plan, because by then we need to move on into the next week's material, right? But if you get in touch with us about things beforehand and let us know, we can work with you. This also applies if, let's say, you are sick during this time period when a quiz is open. Get in touch with us. Reach out to us. Don't wait until the quiz is already late. We are willing to work with you because, believe it or not, right, we were once students like yourself as well, and we get how it is. We understand how it goes, and particularly in the case of something like this where it's an online course, the best laid plans can fall through for you. You could be planning like, all right, yes, I know how to fit this into my schedule. I am going to work on this quiz on this very specific time on Friday afternoon, right? And then life gets in the way. Let us know about those things ahead of time. Well, before the end of the quiz, right? You can't always necessarily let us know ahead of time that you're going to get sick, but should you find yourself sick, reach out to us, let us know, and we'll make arrangements, right? We're willing to do that. Attendance policy, this class is completely online, so you'll be responsible for whatever work is due that subsequent online work week, meaning that any failure to complete work results in students being counted as absent. If students are forced to quarantine or shelter from home as a result of COVID-19, the students are required to contact the instructors immediately. If students become the primary caregiver of a family member, blood, or chosen to where their ability to access materials by deadline becomes compromised, the students are required to contact instructors immediately. Then there's the COVID notice that the school has us posting here. Essentially, there's a lot here, and you're going to hear it in every single class that you're taking this semester. So I don't want to dive too heavily into it. Just understand that the COVID notice essentially says, be prepared for things to change on a moment's notice or 0 notice. We are still dealing with the pandemic. Things that we have learned about the virus and how to treat it are making life a little more, at least closer to normal. But that could change. That could change at any moment. We've seen it happen way too many times over the past 2 years, where it looked like things were going well, and then bam, some new variant came in and the sickness was spreading again. So be aware that at any moment, There could be new requirements that come into place. Students should be prepared for the imposition of mask requirement and or shifts to alternative means of instruction, including online instruction at any point during the semester. That doesn't affect you and Professor McIntosh and myself all that much, at least in the confines of this particular course, because we're online anyway. But if any of you, and I imagine many of you, this is the case, are taking this course, but are also taking some courses that are face-to-face on campus, that's definitely something to be aware of, right? Like excused absences due to participation in Bethel University events. In the case of absences due to official COVID-19 quarantine status, it is the student's responsibility to contact the instructor, make up any missed work, and fulfill all assignments. Now, that sounds, I hate the way that's worded. I always have since we've had this statement, because it sounds like we're coming down hard on you because you happen to be sick with COVID-19. That's not necessarily the case. All that we're asking of you right there is that if you are sick and have to quarantine, let us know. We'll work out what we need to work out with you. If you're feeling well enough to keep doing the work, keep doing the work. No problem with us, right? We're here online anyway. We've had situations in the past couple of years where someone was just so sick that we made arrangements for how they could then make up that work once they were feeling better. But we need to know. Sandy Loudon's office, by the way, if you do find yourself sick and in need of quarantine, reach out to Sandy Loudon's office so that they can get official word to us. Sandy Loudon's office tries their hardest to make sure that we get notifications about these things, but sometimes those fall behind, or sometimes people slip through the cracks. So you reaching out to Professor McIntosh and myself and letting us know is going to always be the best idea to make certain that we know about what's going on and we can make some adjustments for you should we need to. Cultural credit. All right, so you have the quizzes, you have the exams. Then we have something here referred to as cultural credit. This is a way of earning extra credit in the course. In addition to other extra credit opportunities that Professor McIntosh and I will put out there. Cultural credit. Students may, let's just say, attend rather than digitally attend. Although if a situation allows you to digitally attend something, that is perfectly fine. 3 cultural events from music, theater, art, literature, or film, right? If it fits into one of those categories, then you can claim it as a cultural extra credit thing for 10 points apiece. Now, understand, a quiz, 10 questions, 1 point per question. Each quiz is worth 10 points. So one of these extra credit things is worth the same as a quiz. It can make up for a botched quiz for a maximum of 30 points. Now, that means you can get 3 cultural credit things in. We'll keep track of whether or not you have gotten all 3 of them. But we'll also put other extra credit opportunities out there with varying amounts of points for each, depending on what we're asking you to do. You may not be able to attend a play because you are in the play. Right? You may not be able to attend a concert because you are singing in the concert or you're playing an instrument in the concert. You let us know those things and we can make sure that you get credit for those things. Documentation of attendance varies from event to event, so be sure to pay attention to the assignment criteria provided on Google Classroom to avoid loss of points. Most places, most of these events will have a sign-up sheet for you to sign in for extra credit, or they will provide other ways for you to prove that you were there. All right, so here's how your grade is going to break down, right? The quizzes. Now, again, I said they're worth 10 points each, right? Which if you think about the math there are 8 quizzes, but we dropped 1 of them. That means a total of 70 points. But what we're going to take it is convert it to a 200-point scale when we do our grade averaging. So that's 200 points. Exam 1 is worth 200 points. Exam 2 is worth 200 points, as is the final exam. Creating a total of 800 possible. with the possibility of bumping beyond that 800 with extra credit points. Below are how the grades break down. If you want an A, you're aiming for 720 to 800. A B, you're aiming for 640 to 719. C, you're aiming for 560 to 639. A D is 480 to 559, and an F is anything below 480. All right, so real quickly, quizzes. The way this is going to work, and you're going to get some of this information from Professor McIntosh when she goes over the frequently asked questions. But quizzes, as I said, are 10 multiple choice questions each. Then when it comes time for an exam, let's just go back to the schedule just really quickly here. All right. So you see that you're going to get material on week 1 and you'll get material on week 2. And then at the end of week 2, there'll be a quiz, right? It'll open on Thursday. It will close on Sunday night. That quiz will be 10 questions, multiple choice questions that are related to the material you've gotten in these 2 prior weeks. All right. Later on, you have quiz 2. Later on, you have quiz 3. Then you have exam 1 in week 6. Exam number 1 will be, the format will be that there'll be 25 multiple choice questions. Those multiple choice questions will be pulled from the questions that were on these 3 previous quizzes. Right? So you have those 25 questions, and then there will be 2 essay questions that you'll be asked to write an actual essay in response to a prompt. There'll be one essay that you'll write for Professor McIntosh and 1 essay that you'll write for me on each of those quizzes. I'm sorry, on each of those exams. Right? The final exam is not cumulative. The final exam, or exam number 3, is going to require everything since exam number 2. So it will cover everything that was on quizzes 7 and 8. Okay? And we usually like to have some study sessions where we'll have a couple of times set aside for each exam, where we'll have a Zoom meeting online that students can attend and ask any questions that they might have about the exam, and we'll answer those, right? All right, so let's come on down to this last little bit. Every single syllabus that you're going to be getting is going to be including this information at the end, and I'm just going to read it verbatim so that I don't get anything mixed up. So Bethel University is committed to equal opportunity in education for all students, including those with documented disabilities. If you have a diagnosed disability, or if you believe that you have a disability that might require reasonable accommodation in this course, please contact Disability Services at 352-4012. Bethel University policy states that it is the responsibility of the student to contact instructors to discuss appropriate accommodations to ensure equity in grading experiences and assignments. Now, this course, with the way that it is designed, generally meets most accommodations. But if there are any accommodations that you are entitled to that this course doesn't cover in its current form, reach out to Professor McIntosh and we will see what can be done about that. Bethel University is committed to and cares about all students. Support services are available for any person at Bethel University who is experiencing feelings of being overwhelmed, hopelessness, depression, thinking about dying by suicide, or is otherwise in need of assistance. For immediate help, contact the National Suicide Lifeline number at that number that's listed there, or text to the number that's listed there. Student and employees on the McKenzie or Paris campuses can also contact Bethel's Safety and Security Office at the number that's listed there, or the mobile crisis number at the number listed there. Emergency services, 911, should be contacted in the event of an emergency. So if anything has been revealed to us over these last couple of years, it is the importance of mental health, being willing to admit when one's mental health is such that you need help, being willing to seek out that help, being willing to tell others that you need that help. And both Professor McIntosh and I 100% stand behind that portion there. If you are feeling that you are at all in a mental health crisis, reach out to any of these resources. Also, don't feel like you cannot reach out to Professor McIntosh or myself. That said, just so that you do understand, Professor McIntosh and I, as employees of Bethel University, are required, if you do speak to us in any capacity about the desire to want to die by suicide, we do have to report that. We are not allowed to keep that confidential. But if you need someone to talk to, we're there, right? I assure you that you can trust that we are there for you. It's if Professor McIntosh was here, she'd be chiming in with me right now. It's something that we talk about ad nauseum in this class. In fact, you'll get a few check-ins over the course of the semester asking how you're doing emotionally. Okay, so I think I'll stop there because I think anything else that I could go on and on and on about will get answered in the frequently asked questions video that Professor McIntosh is going to do. By the way, yes, by all means, leave any questions that you might have about this in the comments of this material, right? I'll answer any questions that you might have there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this semester. Don't be a stranger. Reach out to us as often as you can. If you ever want to just run by our office and just introduce yourself, because that's one of the things about having this class be completely online is that we so rarely actually get to put a face to the names that we're seeing. So if you just want to come by and say, hello, hi, I'm so-and-so, so that we can make that connection, that's wonderful too. All right. I think that's it then. Take care. Be on the lookout because this week you'll be getting materials related to prehistory and ancient Egypt and ancient Mesopotamia. Those lectures will be in video form and they'll be popping up very soon. So be on the lookout for those. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.